Thanks to the support as a channel member, David Carter. Well, after our iffy start to the season, it's all coming up, Kev, again. We're back in the Champions League spots. We've got money to spend in January. We're going to win everything this year. It is the final season. It's not going to be the final season. We're not going to win the Champions League, but it's suddenly going well again, which is nice. Hello and welcome to Club 3, part 13 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have what I think is the first North London derby I've shown you in a video. We're away against Spurs. We're at home against Brighton. Since you were last with me, form has still been a little bit up and down, but the important thing is we've just beaten Liverpool and we're currently fourth in the Premier League. We're way off the hunt for the title, 13 points behind Chelsea. Yes, we have a game in hand, but we're not winning the league this year. But we're very much part of this pack chasing fourth place. It kind of seems to be separating into a top three who are in a title race, and then it's us, Wolves, Tottenham, arguably Brighton, Liverpool, West Ham, all in this mix. Or maybe even Posh will be looking at that thinking they could still get into the Champions League. So we play two of our potential Champions League rivals today in Tottenham and Brighton, and there's also transfer stuff going on as well. If we have a look at players potentially on their way out of the club, the big headline is we might be getting rid of Christopher Ayer, who is hopefully on his way to Inter just to solve his being grumpy problem. There's nothing I can do to help Pedri out. The backroom staff is already as good as it's going to get. But if we can get one grumpy player out, that is a good thing. And the combination of that money coming in and the extra money that we were given in the wage budget earlier in the, I think it was back in December, around about the time of last episode, I'm hoping we can bring in two potential players, or at the very least, I'd like this guy. Anthony Asante is a left back / centre back. In my mind, he's probably going to be my left back. I know you lot love it when I sign a right-footed left back, but he's a current Dutch international. He's 24 years old, and if it doesn't work out at left back, he's better than any centre back we've got as well. So we might be solving our left back problem, but also hopefully solving our not having a backup goalkeeper problem by bringing in 23-year-old French international Roland Guillot from Saint Etienne, who probably will take over as our first choice goalkeeper. But Dragowski has been injured recently, and we've played young Danny Brown has had a little run of games in the side, and he hasn't been spectacular. So we definitely need a second goalkeeper in the squad. So if we can get Ayer out, get those two in, I think that's definitely the final improvements that we needed to be properly competitive this year. But for now, they're not in, and we've got to try and beat Tottenham. So we're going with Dragowski in goal, a back four of Saka, potentially for the last time if we get our shiny new left back. A back four of Saka, Gabriel, Tamea and Remy, Carlos Alberto and Barrow in midfield, Magno, Pedri and Camara supporting João Pedro up front. Like I say, I think this is the first North London derby that I've shown you in a video. So hopefully we'll pull off a victory. We have beaten Tottenham a couple of times, I think, since being at Arsenal. So it's not, it wouldn't be unusual if we went there and grabbed one. Sebastian Wassel's in their team. Famous, he wasn't good enough to play for Posh, apparently, according to some sections of the comments section. He was the one who was on loan from Norwich for a couple of years and then seemed to disappear off the face of the earth. It seems he's resurfaced at Tottenham and is now pushing for a Champions League spot, just like we are, just like Peterborough are. See, I knew he was good. I mean, he was late. He was an English wonder kid, a genuine English wonder kid. I think he was the first wonder kid we had in Non-League to Legend this year. So he was always going to come good. Hopefully he has a bad game today, though. And Carlos Alberto, our winger playing in central midfield, who, I mean, that's his future. That's where he's going to be playing for us. Hopefully he can win that central midfield battle. It is Alberto with the corner, and Gabriel's there, and that's his first goal of the season from the corner. It's the slam dunk corner, boys and girls, the in-swinger to the near post. If you don't know why it's called a slam dunk corner, you should be watching the home series as well, because whenever that corner happens from now on, it's referred to as the slam dunk corner. Brighton are beating Posh 2-0, I've just noticed as well. So that's there's the potential that some of these Champions League fourth spot chasers are starting to separate themselves from the pack over the course of this episode. Ball's cleared up towards João Pedro, but he nods it back looking for Magno and doesn't find him. And now Tottenham are advancing into the penalty area. Remy brings their defender down, but it's a clean tackle. And Remy, with the counter-attack, plays the ball over the top for João Pedro. He's in here. He's behind the last defender. If he can beat the keeper... Ooh, the keeper he gets a little bit of something on it. I don't even know if it was a hand. It might just come off of his hip bone or something, and it's just enough to push it wide of the post. We look for another slam dunk corner, but Spurs actually get the ball clear, but Remy is there to tidy up the counter-attack once again. And we go in at half-time. Spurs 0, Arsenal 1. More of the same, please, gentlemen. If we can pick up a couple of wins in today's episode, it sets us up very nicely for this second half of the season. Sets us up very nicely for tomorrow's episode, where we should have our new signings in, hopefully, and be ready to play Napoli in the first knockout round of the Champions League, who are currently third in Serie A. So Napoli, very much a team we're capable of beating, capable of knocking out the Champions League, and hopefully going on a little bit of a run in that tournament, which would be very, very nice. I don't think we're close to good enough to win it yet, but if we could get to like a quarter-final in our first season back, whilst qualifying through the league to be back in again for another year, then it's all steps in the right direction. And if the board don't support me financially in the summer, we can use that experience to go and get a big job somewhere else. Spurs have equalised. All the plans that I was making, and Spurs have now equalised. It's 54 minutes on the clock. It's 1-1. And they've worked that ball through really quite easily. How is Harry Kane still a player? I mean, we're so far in the future now. Harry Kane must be older than I am in real life, which is saying something because I'm pretty old. But it says a lot that he's still their striker. This is why Troy Parrott is Liverpool's striker, who's never getting past Kane because he's still starting regularly for Spurs. What year is it? 2028? What is it? So 7 years? How old's Kane in real life? I'm trying to work out how old he is. João Pedro's intercepted here, though. Rather than doing Harry Kane maths, João Pedro's in again. And once again, can't quite apply the finish. And you have to wonder, either of these chances that João Pedro's had since that first goal, does Liam Delap score one or both of them? Saka now weaving his way across the pitch, finds Carlos Alberto, who gives the ball away carelessly. Maybe he is a winger after all. And now Spurs with the counter-attack. This would be a troubling time for Tottenham to score a goal. Carlos Alberto's covered for his own mistake there, though. But gave the ball straight back. I mean, he got the tackle in, but what's the point of getting the tackle in? That happens too much in FM21. We're at that point of the game now where I'm noticing the things that frustrate me, and this happens far too often. You make a tackle, but then don't go for the follow-up. So you make the tackle, but don't actually come away with the ball. And it's that's like the defining FM21 thing for me, I think. And I need to see the end of it. It's very upsetting. I don't remember it happening quite so often in previous versions of the game. Right, we've got a lot of tired players here. I'm looking down at the bench, thinking, well, at the very least, we've got to get Delap on. We need his finishing. We've also got to go attacking. I think we probably need to... I mean, what have we got? Almada has to come on. He can come on for Pedri. And we don't really have a third attacking change to make. So I think I'll just bring Martinez on for Alberto. I would have been tempted to push Alberto forward and take Camera off just to change things up a little bit, but Camera and Alberto are just as tired as each other, so we may as well leave Camera on as the better of the two as a winger. And I said the better teams were starting to separate themselves from the group, and worryingly, it is Tottenham who jump above us into fourth place as things stand, and Brighton, who we play next, also going above us as well, and we drop down to sixth place, which is just not good enough. If we end up finishing in sixth place this year, I would expect to be sacked. Even though they won't sack me, I should be sacked for a sixth place finish. I think the board would actually be quite happy with that. They're just looking for Europa League qualification, I think. Yeah. Get some ambition. This is why I'll end up leaving Arsenal, because they don't have any ambition. Well, Aya has gone to Inter. The other two haven't come in yet, though, so we're currently a man down as we're waiting for two new players to enter the squad. We've rotated a little bit for the Brighton game. Gascon coming in at the back, Martinez coming in midfield, and Delap coming in up front. Otherwise, it is largely the same side you've just seen lose against Tottenham. This is where our strength in depth starts to become a problem again. When we start playing these 2 games a week, we just don't have the quantity of players to be able to do it. I think I'm happy with my first 17, 18, especially if I bring these 2 players in. What we've got, I get this summer, is enough of a budget for me to be able to bring in 2, 3, 4 Champions League quality players without needing to sell first. And that is going to be a big ask. We're going to need a budget of like 70, 80 million pounds for me to not think, right, I don't really know if I'm getting backed to push this team on to the next level. And I think that is a big ask. So part of me does suspect if we have a frustrating season this year, we are going to be actively looking for a job in the summer, which will be the first time in the save that we've actively gone looking for a job. But I think we are reaching that point of frustration with Arsenal where I know I've only been here a year, but there seems to be that ceiling in the Premier League that there always is. And I just don't know if this club have the money to break through the ceiling any more than we did at Peterborough, maybe. I better be careful how I say that. The comment section will have a field day. Obviously, they do have more oomph than Posh. We've got a ground that's twice the size, much more money, much better training and youth setup. But we're still not Manchester United or Manchester City. And that's a problem. Although we have just gone 1 up against Brighton. So I'll be taking it all back if we end up in the Champions League, because that was my goal for this year, Champions League qualification. And we're still hovering very close to that. We're ahead in our game, which puts us 1 point behind Tottenham. Tottenham, I was about to tell you who they were playing, but I didn't get time to find before we got into another highlight. I won't object if we score from it. I will object if Brighton score. We've given the ball away there very carelessly. I think, was that Gascon who gave the ball away there? He needs to do a lot better with that and not give the ball away. I mean, he's won it back quite nicely, so I'll let him off. But still, put us under unnecessary pressure. And Tamea plays it forward to Delap, nods it back to Pedri, and now Martinez looking for that ball through for Delap, and it's just really poor. We've seen a lot of good from Martinez this season, but he's not quite ready to play week in, week out as our starting playmaker in midfield. Partly, I think, probably because he's young, partly because he doesn't speak the language yet. His time will come, and next season he's going to be incredible. This year, he's a bit hit and miss, although that was a lovely ball for Camera, who placed Delap in, and there's that finishing that we were talking about from Liam Delap. João Pedro is probably more of a complete forward. He gets involved in the build-up play a little bit more, drifts out into the wide areas more, looks like he's contributing more all the way through until you get into that 6-yard box. And once you get into the 6-yard box, into the penalty area, and it comes down to just finishing, Liam Delap has definitely got the edge. He is the finisher. And I probably need to figure out a way to get them both in the team at the same time again, but that's going to involve dropping Camera or Magno. Although, to be fair, not necessarily dropping them, maybe just rotating a little bit better, because I'm still not great at rotating. It's always been my big issue that I've had over the years. I'd rather have a bigger squad than have to and just sort of set, you know, I'm like, I send people off on their holidays. I'll rest people if I'm told they're too tired, but I'm not very good at anticipating the tiredness and resting people in advance. And certainly with a squad this side, it's tricky, but not impossible. The likes of Almada haven't started a lot of games this season. Tommy Doyle, I don't think, has started a single league game for us. And he was ever present in that midfield this year. So there are ways I could rotate a little bit better than I do. Gascon scores from the slam dunk corner there. We're not going to dwell on the negatives today. We might have lost to Tottenham, but we've beaten Brighton. And I'm sure all Arsenal fans will agree that was the big one. That was the main one that you wanted to win. Tottenham, we're not even interested in Tottenham. It's all about beating the new challengers, Brighton, and sending them back whence they came, back down the league table. Tottenham, are we ever going to find out who they're playing? I've seen them. They've missed a penalty. I think they're away. I want to say to Southampton, but I can't read that quick. I found them, but didn't quite find who they were playing. It's Magno on the left again. If we can grab another goal here, we can rest some players for the last 20, 25 minutes. Camera charges into the area, fires across goal. We can probably rest some players anyway. Camera, for one, is very, very tired. It's not Southampton, it's Swansea they're away to. And Harry Kane missed a penalty on 14 minutes. But we are going to take off Rui Camera, push Alberto forward. And Doyle, who we were just talking about, can come on and play in midfield. We'll just swap those two over and make Doyle the box-to-box midfielder. I'm also going to get on Almada, who can come on for Pedri. And for my final trick, I think we might take off... Alberto, actually. Push Saka forward. get Remy at left back, get Williams on, and then have Saka playing out there as an inverted winger and just give him a little bit of game time, playing in his more natural position. If we've got a new left back about to arrive, we need to get Saka back into the mix as part of that attacking midfield front three, where he's not really been a regular starter for quite a long time now. Brighton with the corner, but the header goes just over, and the move ultimately not particularly threatening. Tottenham still 0-0 away against Tottenham. Tottenham still 0-0 away against Swansea. Let's get your words right, Kev. And that would leave us just 1 point behind them in the table, 1 point outside of the Champions League qualification, which I know is worse than when we started the episode, but it still keeps us in the mix. And being in the mix is all we really want. We're not in a title race. We just need to make sure we're in that top four at the end of 38 games, and we're reasonably well positioned to do that. I think we're still in a situation where if we win every game, we'll get into the Champions League. So I think we play Spurs again, but probably best not to budget to win 20 consecutive games just yet. But we will be back tomorrow. Tomorrow will, of course, be the Champions League knockout rounds. We'll do the first leg and one of these games probably tomorrow, the second leg and one of those the next day, and then hopefully we'll be following a Champions League run and Champions League qualification campaign for the rest of the season. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.